Shane Spooney here, first to the floor. The Celtics said, "Merry Christmas, LA." I'm here with Jake Eisenberg. Jake, how you doing? How was the holidays?
Mate, holidays are good. We're on Christmas number 2 up in the northeast of Australia, which is, again, the inverse of the United States in that it is, thankfully, it's still early, 8 a.m., but it's 35 degrees, which is 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Shit.
But you don't feel the temperature cold or hot when the Celtics are delivering presents like they did yesterday.
I know, dude.
How about you, man?
What? I'm doing good. Like I was just telling you before we started recording, my kid is getting 3 Christmases this year. So
living,
two
dude.
two just wrapped up. We're flying up to Boston in about a week and a half for Christmas number 3. So
I mean,
it's been good. It's been fun.
We got Deuce. You think he's lucky? You know, he's starring in commercials on Christmas, but Spoonie's kid, he gets 3 Christmases. Same. I
know. The whiskey will run dry before that 3rd Christmas is over. I'll tell you that much, but they don't make bottles big enough. But anyway, all right, let's talk about some basketball.
Hell yeah.
126, 115. I think Joe Titty said it in our Slack. It might have been you, Jake, who said just professional win against the Lakers.
Joe.
Yeah, and it really was. Like, it felt like it was on the verge of a classic Celtics, like, we pissed this 10-point lead away, and the Lakers came through, and now it's going to be a 10-point deficit all of a sudden. I think at one point in the third quarter, Vanderbilt gave the Lakers the lead, 66-64 or 62-60. I don't think they got the lead back after that point. So where do you want to start? There's a lot of good stuff in this game, Jake.
I mean, thankfully we survived Jaylen Brown's spine being ninja kicked in the by LeBron, who, I mean, that performance, was, you know, to firstly get away with 2 fouls on Jaylen, one of which could have broken his back, and then to like look to the side, see that Jaylen Brown's down, and like all in one movement realize that he also needs to pretend like he's hurt. And for all of, like, I didn't see a single tweet about is Jaylen Brown okay, or anyone on the broadcast, but thankfully LeBron's okay, Jaylen's okay. LeBron subbed himself out early. That was interesting. He was like, I don't have the goods for this Celtics team.
Yeah, dude. And this is what makes LeBron one of the greats. And by that, I mean one of the worst. There are articles online that came out today talking about how LeBron's knee is sore from kneeing this dude in the kidney. Like, what are we doing, LeBron? So I wanted to pull up the video, and I just ran across, like, LeBron James says his knee's sore this morning. It's like, oh my God, dude. Just classic LeBron. But yeah, dude. He looked like a fucking traffic cone out there.
Yeah. He and like, I was expecting a big LeBron performance, and he was fine, but I liked the way that we defended the Lakers start to finish. It was a really sound strategy for a lot of teams. It's like, we're gonna play LeBron and AD straight up, no matter kind of who gets switched onto them. We're gonna make you ISO. You're going to have to back Drew Holiday down, and we're going to send like really late help, which led to deflections, hands in passing lanes, got the Celtics out and running. Like, even though AD had 40 points on, how many shots was it? It was 40 points on 26. Like, obviously a big game. But at no point did it feel like he was really dominating and taking over the game. And then again, somehow the Lakers shot 40% from 3. Despite being one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league. But
I'm just used to that at this. Everybody shoots 40% against the Celtics. It just happens. And it's not like they're all wide. I mean, obviously some of them are wide open, but the C's do a pretty good job of contesting. But yeah, that's a great point on, like, I think the way to defend the Lakers is to just let AD get his, because he's not a playmaker, so he's not going to get the other guys on the team really involved. And he's just like shooting twos and these tough layups. And I feel like he missed a few free throws, but I could be misremembering. He missed 2 free throws, so nothing crazy. But it just like slows the Lakers down so much because they're really trouble when LeBron's getting out in like semi-transition, Austin Reeves is getting out in semi-transition, but it's like grinding for 2 points after like 18 seconds in the shot clock, and then you've got to go defend the Celtics team on the other end is just not really a recipe for success. So thought the game plan defensively was really sound, and offensively, I mean, I just absolutely loved it. Like the KP, every time he gets a non-center on him, everyone just hits him with the ball now. Yep. And you could tell they just finally understood, like, oh, this guy just scores every single time he's got a little on him, right?
I know, like, we love the pick and pops, but it's like, this dude is just absurd. Here he is, the Bear Slayer.
Bear Slayer.
Merry Christmas from Latvia. I mean, this dude, he delivered first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, closed it out with the big put back dunk off of a Derrick White floater. But yeah, the offense was great. I mean, they, again, another win where they only shoot 31% from three, bringing that number where, you know, the Celtics are undefeated when they shoot. It was 33%. I'm guessing it's down to like 32.5. Undefeated when they shoot 32.5% from three, which is just a ridiculous number. Like last year when it was 40% from three, they were... That last year, people that had a gripe with the threes, live or die, kind of true. Because if they went in, they won. And if they didn't, they lost. This year is not like that. Like 32.5%, 33% from three would be like well below last in the NBA in 3-point percentage. And so they're almost always, you know, shooting there or above, hence why they're 23-6. But that's the biggest difference between this team and last year's team. And what was hilarious was the halftime show with Perkins and Wilbon, Stephen A. You know, just basketball's elite analytical minds really getting together for the halftime show. And because what happened was the Celtics got out to a hot start, and then the Lakers came back, and it felt like and the Celtics were just missing wide, and like the cleanest catch and shoot, drive and kick. It was great offense, but the Lakers weren't really closing out hard on any of the shooters. And so, like, I understand watching the game, because I do it too. In the moment, you're like, you miss 3 threes in a row. It's like you want to get something a little cleaner. But if they're not going to be closing out hard, and they're going to be having Anthony Davis and LeBron, and they're a big team, just sitting in the paint, you can't just launch into the paint and challenge up at the rim. Like Tatum got blocked at the rim, and like Perkins and Stephen A. just like, I don't know if I believe in this team. All they do is shoot threes, and it's like, are you guys watching the game? Like sometimes you actually you have to hit shots to loosen it up, and then eventually the three started to go down just a little bit more, and then the paint, and then they started to get more going at the rim. But like the offense was really good, clean looks all night long, and I actually had to look at some stats just because I wanted to compare us to last year's team. So the Celtics played 20 playoff games last year, and the Celtics shot under 33% 6 times. So that makes the Celtics 14-6 using this new 33% equals undefeated streak. If you're 14-6 in the playoffs, you're probably in the finals.
Yes. Yeah, unless you get supremely unlucky and 4 of those losses are in the same series. But yeah, you're definitely in the finals, which happened.
I was going to say 3 of those were against the Miami Heat. But the biggest difference with this team is we are far more well-equipped to deal with bad shooting nights. And I think a lot of it has to do with the defense and the post-scoring, with that, like you said, with KP. Like, it's just teams can't switch. And if you don't switch, then the pick and roll and the pick and pop just becomes too easy.
Yeah, and I thought the way they approached, especially the fourth quarter, there was like 5 out of 6 possessions in between that like 8 minutes to 4 minutes, which is like you're up 6 or something like that going into that stretch. Like you can win the game in that stretch. And they did it. And what they did was they just went at Austin Reeves every single time. So like they were trying to hide Austin Reeves on Derrick White. We all know you absolutely can't do that. So they're having White. Yeah, they're having White set the screen, and it was like Tatum gets switched onto him. He takes him into the high post, swing to KP, dump to Tatum. Tatum gets a layup. One time they tried to hide Austin Reeves on Drew Holiday. Holiday just goes straight to the rim, easy lefty layup. And it was just very intentional offense,
Yep.
but not intentional in the way that we see them at their worst, where it's like Tatum dribbles 7 times and it slows and grinds to a halt. It was like, we know exactly what we want to do and how we're going to execute it. And they did it perfectly. And Austin Reeves, like, he was just flailing around. Like, I almost felt bad for the dude, man. Like,
yeah, he had one. You're absolutely right. And this is why the crunch time stat is so flawed. Like 5-point game within 5 minutes equals crunch time. Whereas like if 9 to 6 minutes, if you can push the lead out to 10, that's crunch time. Like
right.
That's equally as important as you blow your 10-point lead and it turns into crunch time. It's like the whole fourth quarter really feels like crunch time, and like that's where the Celtics often feel like they get more into troubles when they have these leads and then they blow them, and it ends up in crunch time where it shouldn't have. But yeah, the Celtics crunch time formula, like get stops, push the pace, attack mismatches, and move the ball. And like it felt like a masterclass in crunch time. There was that one play down the wing on Austin Reeves with Drew Holiday. Yeah,
Yep.
Like Derrick White kind of like just gets the ball, does a little like pump fake, swings it right to Drew Holiday, and man, Austin Reeves, he at least tries on defense, but there's just only so much you can do when you're going against this just bulldog in Drew Holiday, and he just gets straight to the rim, right, use the right hand floater in. But my favorite play of crunch time, this one is for the 85-86 crowd. I'm going to play it here. We're playing that perfect defense on LeBron. LeBron's backing down Drew Holiday. No one's overhelping. KP comes over, gets the steal, outlet to Drew Holiday, one pass to Derrick White, alley-oop to Jason Tatum. 0 dribbles. Stop. Pass quick to Holiday, up the court to Derrick White, alley-oop to Tatum, and it's just like that's perfect crunch time offense right there. And from like so they were Austin Reeves cuts the lead to a 111 to 100. So 11-point lead with 6:30 to go. It's like right there, you need like 3 good possessions and the game's over.
It's over. Yep.
Or we have 3 bad possessions and we feel like Christmas is about to be ruined. And they go 7 for 11 from the field to close the game. And it was pushing the pace. It was getting stops. They were originally going to like Tatum in the pick and roll, and Derrick was slipping the screens. And Tatum had that one bad turnover where he kind of got a little bit lazy with the pass. Austin Reeves stole it. Transition for the Lakers. They switched it. Derrick White initiating. Tatum slipping the screens. They got Tatum like posted up on Reeves. Tatum catches it, finishes at the rim over LeBron. And all of a sudden, Tatum ends up going 3 for 4 from the field in the fourth quarter, where he ended up like he had a bad shooting night. But, he actually was more deliberate. He had a little post fadeaway on Anthony Davis. I loved the crunch time offense. And I just wish they could do some of this stuff without Porzingis out there too.
Yeah.
They don't need him out there necessarily to be perfect. But I thought that crunch time was perfect yesterday.
It feels like they don't realize that yet, though, that they can do some of this stuff without KP. But yeah, actually, that little Tatum post feed was after Derrick White blew right by Austin Reeves, kind of drew AD. He dropped it off. Tatum kind of took like kind of a weird escape dribble when he didn't need to, but he just hit the fadeaway anyway, so it didn't matter. Tatum had a really strange game. I thought defensively he was great. He was matched up on AD after switches a ton, and he was like working his ass off on that end. He took maybe 3 god-awful pull-up threes that I despise. One of them was extremely late clock, so I get it. That one's fine, but at least 2 of them were just like, why, dude? Why?
I don't know if it was the end of the second or end of the third quarter, but it was like just the classic, we've got 12 seconds. I'm not sure who to blame. I'm pretty sure it's Tatum, but no one comes to set a screen, and he makes his move with 5 seconds to go on the shot clock. And at that point, you're easy to defend, no matter who you are, because you're able to get into someone and make them uncomfortable for 2 seconds, and then they're going to be taking just a tough shot. And so that was the worst one. But yeah, the shots weren't terrible. He missed just a couple of threes that he should have anyway. But this is the value of Tatum, is that he does everything, and to give you the 11 rebounds, he passed the ball well. 8 rebounds, the 7 assists, and only the 1 turnover. That's on this team. All he has to really have to do, and his biggest free throw game. Sorry, which I didn't mention, was like he really did a good job getting himself to the free throw line 13 times. And hallelujah, made some freaking free throws for the first time all season.
I know, right? I know. And so Chris Waugh, I'm probably butchering your last name.
I think that's
sorry,
good.
Chris.
Yeah.
25 on 15. So like that is an efficient night from like a true shooting perspective. It really is. But kind of like the missed open threes kind of hurt. But he says, do you think it's a young man ego tripping? I'm assuming meaning the pull-ups. Yeah. I think Tatum in his mind thinks that like I don't think it's ego so much as like he has so much belief in the fact that he can make that shot, that it's a good shot. Maybe that is ego.
I was going to say, like, it sounds an awful lot like ego.
Yeah, perhaps. But yeah. I don't think it comes from like a negative place.
Yes.
I think it comes from like I want to do what's best for the team. And like other than those few shots, like I thought he moved the ball really well. One of his best passing games of the season, really. And the 7 assists, I'm not sure they really do justice to how well he just kind of moved the ball, got to his spots. And again, defensively, thought he was great. He's been rebounding like a monster. Great rebounding game from him as well. So just the shots just didn't go in. And like, I don't know, maybe we just got to live with like 2 or 3 bad pull-ups again. I don't want to live with it, but I think we might have to.
The tough thing is like there's going to be the game in the playoffs where the 2 or 3 go in, and then he has the game 6 in Milwaukee game. Because when they are going in, again, I always speak to. I don't think he does it as much in the playoffs, and especially with this team. And I think like the 7 assists obviously speak to how he moved the ball really well, but this was just like a true team win, and I think you can see that in the fact that he only has 15 field goal attempts. So like he was 3rd on the team in field goal attempts. Obviously that's skewed a tiny bit by the free throws, but like that, if they're not fouling him, he probably makes half of the attempts at the rim or when he was getting fouled. But the fact that he was 3rd on the team in field goal attempts, I think speaks to how he really bought into the team aspect of this win. And like the narrow field goal distribution of this team yesterday, like Jalen Porzingis with the most with 19. Again, you said it before, they're really buying into and like being like, oh, this guy's just going to shoot 58% from the rim or from the field on post-ups. And Tatum, I feel like, was the last one to really figure that out, because he's just like, I'm usually the best option most of the time, but like you're just a ridiculous option. And so, Porzingis has 19 attempts, but 13 for Derrick, 10 for Drew, 15 for Tatum, 17 for Jalen. Like, your top 5 guys, you're now 15-1 with this starting group. It's just firepower for days. Like, everyone's getting in on it.
Yeah, like, you can't hide Austin Reeves on anybody. You can't hide D'Angelo Russell on anybody. And if you've got 2 of them, like they played both of those guys at the beginning of the 4th quarter together, and Tatum wasn't even on the court. We just eviscerated him. Yes, Carl, that was Cookie's shadow. You saw it. So you'll probably see her again because she's currently hiding under my monitor. But yeah, KP 28, 11, 2, and that's with 2 for 8 from 3. Yeah. I think his worst 3-point attempt he made. Yeah. It was like 26-footer with somebody in his face, and he made it. So I would say 5 of those misses were basically wide open threes that you expect him to make. A lot of them off just like simple pick and pop action that is just essentially undefendable, because if you switch it, he just takes the little into the post. And if you don't switch it, you're going to have to deal with him popping for an open 3. Merry Christmas, Dan Duquette. Yeah. So people in the chat are just hyped. We're hyped.
Yeah,
this is just like going to be a gush session. Oh, real quick. I meant to do this at the top of the show and I forgot. Well, 1, like the stream, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. Please subscribe if you're watching on CLNS. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, First the Floor. And shout out to our listener, Christine Ryan, who sent the 3 fellas signed KP pictures. So pretty friggin' badass. That's amazing.
So
I can't believe we have people who care enough to get us.
Yeah.
My friends don't even get me shit for Christmas.
Yeah, I haven't gotten present from my friends forever. And so it's like, dude, that is awesome. Like, shout out to Christine. Like, they also just look sick. Can't wait to not be allowed to put it anywhere prominent in my house. I
have one tiny wall. You can see Pierce up here, and it's gonna go right there in the middle. So
yes, epic. Oh yeah, so thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, Latvian Pete in the chat here. I know you're jealous. We'll have to get you a copy at some point. But man, KP, he's
a game, dude. And defensively, we haven't even talked about defensively. Teams are really starting to respect him as a rim protector, and that just grinds offenses to a halt when you like crack somebody off the dribble or make a good back cut, and you think it's going to be a layup, and then you just have to turn around and run away from the rim because KP is there, and that is like he doesn't get blocks for that shit. But it matters more than a block. You know what I mean? Because it happens so many more possessions a game. So total game changer. Real quick. Speaking of game changers, Jake.
Oh, my God.
I see you. If you're not watching on YouTube, Jake is in what I believe is his grandparents' bedroom in his grandparents' house. Some very seductive upholstery behind him. Speaking of seduction, 18, 2, 11, 2 steals, 2 blocks. 61.5 from the floor. We're talking, of course, of the mistress, Derrick White. Jakey.
I mean, like, I'm pretty far away from LA, but, you know, we were able to get a quick flight. Not quite as nice as our usual. Yeah, not quite as nice as the gallery collection in Sacramento. But Grandma's house in Browns Plains did the trick for the mistress and myself. This dude, I mean, 18, 2, 11 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I love that he did it on this stage. The premier primetime matchup, LA Lakers. And I think people don't realize that this is just what he does every night. People like see him play like an all-star. It's like, he doesn't do this every night. But he does. He literally does. To have 2 steals, 2 blocks, he is this team's everything. And like Porzingis talking about him in the post-game press conference, being like, I just didn't realize how good Derrick White was.
Yeah.
He's basically the perfect teammate. It's like, that's exactly what he was. My dad before, he's 80 Celtics comp, Dennis Johnson, who made an All-Star game. Yeah. But
Do we want to jump into that now?
Yeah,
no, let's wait. Let's jump into it. Go.
So JJ Redick, he is doing the Lord's work out here. He started it with saying Derrick White should be a top 50 player because Derrick White didn't make the top 100. And I think 3 days ago, he was like, apologies for saying Derrick White should be a top 50 player when really the limit does not exist. Yeah, the limit does not exist. And last night he tweets, Derrick White is an all-star. And he's just going to war like he's one of us on Twitter, replying to people with like 4 followers, just going at the most random people. And this guy's like literally just finished his broadcast of the Nuggets and the Warriors game, and he hops on League Pass and then goes to war with the rest of NBA Twitter like he's just a good old-fashioned Celtics fan. But this dude, I mean, so he's 21st in blocks amongst all players. That's
period.
Not centers, not Pritchard's offensive rebounding for people 6'4" and under, all players. Like, it's, you know, the 16, like he's basically 17 and 5 on 1.2 steals, 1.3 blocks, more or less 50, 40, 90. Of all players taking at least 8 field goals, he has the highest true shooting, so it's higher than Curry, Halliburton, Luka, SGA, Booker, Harden. Obviously, with higher volume, some of that efficiency comes down, but the efficiency is just out of this world. And then last 10 games, it's like he's really trending in a ridiculous direction. Like last 10 games of a season that's only 26 games, he's 23 and 6. He's 20 points, 4 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 1.5 steals, 2 blocks a game across the last 10 games. That's 12th in the NBA. 12th of all players amongst all centers. And that's on 52, 44, 91. He's like well above 50, 40, 90 over the last 10 games. Like, this dude is playing at just an absurd level against everybody. And this last 10 games, the Celtics have played Pacers, Knicks, Cavs, Matt. Like, this isn't against no one. This is against like some of the best defenses and rim protectors, best teams in the league. And he's doing it against every type of team, every type of role, every single night.
On the road, at home, does not matter where he's at. He's dominating. So he averages more blocks than Giannis, Yusuf Nurkic, Robert Williams III, Jakob Poeltl, Mark Williams. Those are 5 starting centers that he averages, and Giannis, that he averages more blocks than a game. Like, that's nuts, man. And that doesn't even account for the fact that he's also flying around screens and guarding at the point of attack all over the place. Like, he's guarding point guards and then getting to help and blocking people nonstop. And his rear view contest blocks, he might be the best at that ever in the NBA, dude.
He's literally offering center quality rim protection every night. Like, he had 2 blocks at the rim. He blocked LeBron at the rim. He blocked Austin Reeves at the rim with his left hand, just like coming over, like literally like he's Porzingis. Like, that's what he's doing. He's playing as if he's a center on the back line when he's not the primary defender. He's helping off the correct matchup. He's timing it perfectly. So, like, Austin Reeves is someone that always makes the right play as well. And even he can't even see Derrick White sneaking in and making these blocks at the rim. The defense is almost getting left behind. He's playing that well on offense, and like, people have been, for the entirety of the Jays era, it's been the Celtics need to get a real point guard. They need to get a legit table setting point guard. They need to get some guy. They got this guy 2 years ago, and there were people when the Drew Holiday trade happened being like, see, now I feel better about this team's passing, playmaking, etc. I think that's just true because Drew's still a better table setter and passer than Brogdon. But it was always going to be Derrick White. He was always going to be the highest usage guard on this team. And the usage keeps going up. Yep. The responsibilities keep going up. And the efficiency keeps going up. The impact keeps going up. Like, he's breaking all of the logic of basketball right now. And I don't think there's any other way to... The problem with making him an actual all-star is, like, there's some really good guards in the NBA. But the impact that he's having on winning on a team that is now 23-6, like, you can't... And role players make the All-Star game. Andrew Wiggins made the All-Star game 2 years ago. Like, Draymond Green used to make the All-Star game behind Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. And Derrick White's having the level of impact that Draymond Green was having in those years. Like, two-way, doing everything that the team needs.
Yeah, like, look, I get Trae Young has these gaudy statistics, but, like, he gives it all back on the defensive end. His team is not good. Like, shouldn't we be rewarding, like, this guy who is probably, it's hard to say he's the 3rd best player on the Celtics, but I think season overall impact, because KP misses a lot of games. Yeah. Jalen was so down for the first, like, month of the season. Like, Derrick has been so consistent the entire season, 66% true shooting. And yeah, you're right. Like, it feels like he's not a point guard like Trae, where you just set him a screen and he's going to go get a shot for somebody. But he's getting better at that. Yeah. Like, he was slicing by Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell anytime either of them were on him. And he does not turn it over. 3.2 assist to turnover ratio in the last 10 games. So, like,
crazy, dude. It's getting crazy, like, the assist to turnover stuff. And on Trae and those matchups, right? So I get it. Like, so there's probably 5 spots for guards if, like, some of the wild cards get given to guards. So, like, Halliburton, Dame, Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Brunson, Trae. Those are the 5. I think he's absolutely deserving over Trae. And here's the other thing. Outside of Halliburton in the Pacers game, And we'll see. We play the Pacers again twice coming up in not too long. But Maxey, Mitchell, Brunson in a playoff series, like Maxey has a real tough time playing against Derrick White on both ends. And in that Atlanta Hawks series last season, part of why the Celtics were so dominant until they did the Celtics thing where they fell asleep in Game 5
yeah,
was Derrick White was absolutely dominating the backcourt of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray because he does it on both ends. He can turn like Jalen Brunson against the Knicks this year, he's not dropping 40 against the Celtics. And obviously it's not just Derrick White. Like the defensive personnel on this team is insane. But you match him up against these guards, he's going to win these matchups. Like not every night because these guys are so good, but like he's winning these matchups night in, night out. Maxey, he's played better than both times. Like he's really turning these guys into non-all-stars when they play each other, which I think should matter. Is like he's able to win the matchups when they're actually going head-to-head. Yeah, Trae Young can have 38 and 17 against the Raptors. Cool. Great. They lost. It's like, whatever.
It's the Raptors.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, Trae was better than White in that series. He won 2 playoff games by himself. But they also went down 3-2 mostly because Trae Young couldn't guard. Again, that's the thing with Derrick White. And then Trae turned into like a pumpkin in Game 6. Like, I understand Trae is still really good, but like, what are we going to remember from this season? Are we going to remember that Trae Young averaged 28 and 13 assists on a team that wins like
38 games?
Or are we going to remember Derrick White being like one of the best role players of like recent history on a team that wins 65 games? So, and like, I'm not going to be like super upset if Trae Young gets in over Derrick White. Like, I get it. But I think this is a very easy argument to make, especially if they keep winning games. It's just like, it's going to be hard to not add another Celtic to the All-Star team.
I know, dude. It's like that. Like Kyle Korver made an All-Star game. Jeff Teague made an All-Star game. I mean, the East was much weaker back then, but still, like these, it's not insane to put sort of a guy who's closer to a role player than a star in an All-Star game over guys who maybe score more points per game. But before we jump into the ad read, just want to like jump into Drew. Is just he just found it, dude. He's just found his role, and he looks so incredibly good on both ends. 18, 7 and 7, 70% from the floor. Like he has just. This is like the maximized version of Marcus Smart, essentially, is what. And Smart had stretches like this as well. I'm not hating on Marcus, but Drew's just got a little more pop offensively than Marcus ever had, and he's just bigger defensively. So he's really found it. And Pritchard. Buddy,
hey,
Pacific P, West Coast P, baby. 4 or 5 in the second quarter. 10. We needed that, dude. At one point, he scored 10 straight points for us. Yeah, and he's just I wrote about it in 3-Leaf Clover on Friday, this past Friday. Just like defensively, he's just mean, man. Like he just plays really fucking hard on both ends at all times. And he had that back cut on LeBron.
Yep.
When LeBron was just staring at the ball. Pritchard just back cuts him, little layup for 2, and I think it was his 10th point for those 10 straight. And I just love to see him embarrass LeBron James like that.
Oh my God! And LeBron with the perfect LeBron reaction, he looking around with his hands up, being like, "Dude,
whose fault is that?
You're guarding Pritchard." It's just no Pritchard, man. Absolutely in that second quarter, the Celtics go cold. They needed and this is the job of the bench is like. You needed a little spark, something to keep you in a game, something to extend the lead. And they needed it. And he gives you 10 straight. He only plays 13 minutes in this game, but he plays 5 of those minutes in the second quarter. And that's all you need. Like he doesn't need to be incredible for all 13. Can you bring that pop? Can you bring that microwave scoring in a little stretch? And that just like completely tilts a game in your favor. And on a team where like the Jays don't even have to play that well, and they can win against the Lakers and LeBron and Anthony Davis by double digits. And a big part of that, Pritchard giving you those 10 points. But I'm with you with Drew. Like, I mean, we had that episode with Drew Carter, the Celtics announcer, talking about concerns about Drew. And literally from that moment, it feels like he's shooting like 70% from the field. He's been money.
The first of the four reverse jinx strikes again, baby. Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. And yeah, you said like the Jays didn't have great games. Absolutely true. We talked a little bit about it, I think, last week, but they're less good games, or they're average games, or these are probably slightly below average games, at least for Jalen, in my opinion. I just really liked how Tatum passed the ball. They're not destructive anymore. Like, Jalen had 3 steals. They didn't rack up turnovers. You know, they had 3 between the two of them. They're both playing defense really well this year. And especially Jalen's defense has just jumped up another level, which we've talked about a lot. So basically they evened out their turnovers with Jalen's 3 steals. Tatum also had a block. So when they're playing not great but not hurting you, like not hijacking the offense, 17 shots for Jalen, 15 for Tatum, and just letting the other guys shine, like, this team is impossible to beat. They really are.
Spoonie, a wise man before the season said, wait till Christmas.
Yeah. Who was that? Well-hung man.
Big, strong, brave guy. Mr. Wayne Spoonie said, it might take till Christmas, and, man, this stretch over the last... like, basically post Pacers loss. I mean, we'll get into like this team as a wagon, but hey, it's Christmas and these guys look pretty good.
Yeah. All right. On that note, on just building my ego up way more than it needs. That's for sure. Let's jump into our FanDuel ad read.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Jake, real quick, before you jump into your bet, I just want you to say, I know we both bet Celtics 60-plus wins.
Oh, yeah.
We can already cash that out for a profit. I checked on FanDuel today. Yeah, just, I only put 20 on it because I don't have deep pockets at all. I got a lot of student debt, all right? But so I could make, through 20 on it, I could make $15 right now today if I wanted to. And we are not even halfway through the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, I looked at they're on a 65-win pace right now, and they only seem to be, and we keep hearing about this easier strengths of schedule for the rest of the season. I'm still waiting for it to really eventuate. I know the next 3 are okay. But, I put 50 on it, so not, but I'm feeling pretty good about that one. Not so much some of the other ones I put down, but that one will help ease the pain of some other losses.
Of all my other terrible bets, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, I believe today Marcus Smart returns against the New Orleans Pelicans. And coming into the season, I was so excited to be like a Grizzlies fan. And that was before they announced Ja Morant's suspension for 25 games, I think. It's all kind of a blur, but Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, 3-0 since Ja's return. They're here. Ja looking like you guys have been talking a lot about, to quote the guy that asked Ja this question in his first press conference that was like really, really weird. Ja's coming for all the point guards that everybody was putting ahead of him.
Yeah, dude. And, he looks crazy right now.
He is. Like that first Pelicans game where they came back and,
the game winner.
Hit the game winner. And he just like goes off in the fourth quarter, challenging Valanciunas at the rim, just cooking everybody. The Grizzlies are +5 against the Pelicans right now. It's in New Orleans. I would have to double check on injuries and stuff. But if Ja, JJJ, and Bane are playing, I think Marcus is back too. But if those 3, even without Marcus, are playing, give me the Grizzlies and this run. Day before Ja Morant came back, I bet the Grizzlies to make the playoffs. They were 6-19, but it was like +1,000, 10-1, 1,000. Put $10 on it, 3 in a row. All I got to do is get them to the play-in, and I think they can take down anyone. I think this Grizzlies team, Ja making a case for the most valuable players in the league, especially after that stretch where that team was really good without him when he got injured.
Last year.
With no Steven Adams, they need him, and I really am excited to see what him and Marcus and Bane and JJJ can do. Like I think they can be good. And I would like to see Marcus win some games. Like, let's get this thing going. And so Grizzlies +5 versus Pelicans. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think they missed Tyus Jones this year, too.
Yep.
Like, he really propped their offense up when Ja was out last year, so I think that was a big part of it as well. And, yeah, Bane, Eric Weiss. I know you've been tweeting up a storm about Desmond Bane. Yeah, Bane has been absolutely balling. He just keeps getting – he reminds me of Jalen, and it's every year it's just like, oh, well, he's probably hit his peak, and he just absolutely has not. But speaking of peaks –
Speaking of
the Celtics, maybe not peaking, maybe peaking, 23-6. You said it, 65 win pace. Like, I just globally, this road trip started off poorly with that Warriors loss. I think we were all real. Oh God, the Celtics
not
are
me,
back.
dude.
We were,
I was calm.
Yeah, we were totally chill. It's no big deal. But look. 3-1 against a Clippers team that had won 6 straight at home and had been playing by far their best basketball of the season. Sacramento, who is a very good team, and the Lakers, who are kind of up and down this year, but like everybody was healthy for them. Like they were, they want to win on Christmas Day. To just like basically blow the absolute doors off of 2 of those teams and take the, I mean, look, it got a little shaky there with the Lakers, but for the most part, that was a pretty comfortable win. I mean, comfortable if you're like not a Celtics fan, but for us, we've seen it so many times. So like overall, I think an extremely impressive road trip. And really this stretch in December, they have been fucking balling, man.
Dude, it's absurd. So they were underdogs into the Kings game. No Kawhi, but no KP. KP is really moving lines. Like,
yes.
Once he went out, even though there was no Kawhi for that game, the Clippers were only still favored by like 3.5, 4.5 points. That's small spread. Lakers game, again, it was like 4.5, 5.5 point spread because teams. I mean, the bookies know. Everybody knows that LeBron can turn it all the way up to top 10, top 5 player right now. We saw it in the IST. In hindsight, maybe that had a little bit to do with who he was playing with the Pelicans and the Pacers and not going against an elite defense like the Celtics. But when they need to, 2 of the best players in the NBA, all those spreads, like if you were to parlay the Kings, Clippers, and Lakers game together, you would have been getting like plus 700, plus 800. And they just cleaned all 3 of those up. Like if you're, I always talk about this, if you're an objective fan and you're watching the Celtics Lakers, even though the Lakers cut it, and got the lead, you're probably thinking the Celtics still pull this thing out. And they did the Celtics thing where they took the punch, similar to the Magic game, even though it was different, where the Magic in that second game came out, tried to enforce their will, really like be physical with the Celtics. The Celtics took the punch early, and then it was just gone over from there. Like this road trip, they just didn't, honestly, the Warriors thing, everybody focused, including on me, like a lot of the late game offense stuff. The defense was the problem. Like that's been the most consistent part of this team, and the defense didn't show up at any point in that game. And if it does show up for like one quarter, then the game's over. But this team now since the Pacers loss, 8-1 against Knicks, Cavs, Magic, Warriors loss, Kings, Clips, Lakers, like 8-1 in this stretch. Like now you can start to break the schedule down into these little segments, and they've just been dominant out of the gates. And they had that little weird stretch where they almost lost to Memphis. They lost to Charlotte. And there was that weird little stretch there where I think people started to waver. Not me, obviously. I'm emotionally stable.
Never you, Jake.
Emotionally stable individual. Not ever too high, never too low. But man, like the moment I said it after the Warriors game where I was freaking out. This could be a moment, good or bad. Are they going to respond? Like last season when they lost to the Warriors and they created, like they ended up being like a 50-win team for the rest of the year. Not a bad team, but they never recovered. Recovered. Part of it was the hot shooting, but they never felt the same. They never felt like they got back to the type of offense that they were playing early in the season, even without the threes going down. And they respond by going 3-0, all against teams where they could have lost, any of these games. Like 2-2 would have been totally fine after losing the Warriors game. But to go 3-1 is serious stuff, and just shows like this team has resiliency, and that they're respecting the regular season. They're respecting building championship habits, which they need to build And, you see them approach, like they didn't have a chance to work on fourth quarter stuff against Clippers and Kings, but you see them execute in a way that they didn't in the Warriors game. And that's what you want to see. Like, this is a weakness. It's not going to be fixed overnight. What you want to see is progress and commitment to what the right thing looks like. And we're definitely seeing it, even from like the first couple games in the regular season. You could see it. They go back into bad habits. Old habits die hard. That's just the reality. But you just want to see, like, what's the plan? And I feel like we saw what the plan was in the Lakers game. So you see that progress. But man, this stretch, it's Wagon.
Yeah. Yeah, and like what I'm looking for is sustainability too, right? Yeah. Because that's kind of what the myth was last year when we started 21-5. It was just, you said it was just the hot shooting kind of propped up. The defense was terrible. It was like 22nd in the NBA over that stretch.
Yep.
They're pretty crazy. They ended second or third or whatever it was after that. But so you had this stat, Jake. The last 15 games, they're the number one offense. What I think's interesting is they're shooting 38.7% from three during those 15 games, which is ninth in the league. Very good, obviously. But opponents are shooting 39.4%. Mm-hmm. So they're losing the 3-point battle every night, which was not a recipe last year for winning basketball games. And the turnover battle is essentially dead even. So it's not like, oh, well, we're just kind of forcing some turnovers. That's probably not sustainable, something like that, right? So what it looks like to me is that we're not shooting above our heads. Opponents are probably shooting above their heads.
Yeah, dude.
We're not forcing some crazy amount of unsustainable amount of turnovers, and they're 12-3, and they're the number one offense over the last 15 games. And that, I mean, the defense has kind of been hit or miss this last 15 game stretch. But part of that is like, we're playing a bunch of really good. Look at Philly. Go look at Philly's stretch the last 15 games. It's like Wizards, Pistons, Charlotte, Wizards, Pistons, Wizards, Charlotte. They don't Raptors. Like, they're not playing anybody. And the Celtics just went through an absolute friggin' gauntlet, dude. Like, you get all this run of games at homes. That's like double Cavs, double Magic, Knicks, and then Warriors, Kings, Clips, Lakers on the road. Like, that is nutty.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, across that 15 games, the defense is still eighth. It's like the defense has still been good. It's just like there's only so much you can do in 2023, or I was about to say 2024, not quite there yet. But there's only so much you can do against all these ridiculous offenses, and the fact that they're still eighth across that span just speaks to like this team is so well balanced across the board that like they can do it in multiple ways on both ends, and like that's the turnovers. That's a great call out. It's just like Tatum had that stretch where he was like leading the league in turnovers. Mm-hmm. That's completely come down. Like he hasn't been turning the ball over. If this team's not turning the ball over and giving teams live possessions, live turnovers, and you're limiting points off turnovers, I just don't know how you beat this team. Consistently, it's going to happen here and there, but like how?
Like, look, you look at the Warriors game. That game went to overtime. We shot under 30% from three, and the Warriors shot 40% from three. Like, that's what it takes to barely beat this team. You know,
without
what I mean?
Porzingis,
without KP too. Yes, they had no Draymond, so I guess I'll call that a wash.
Fair.
I would still say, like, in this version of Draymond versus this version of the Celtics and KP, I'd take KP over him. But, if I'm a Warriors fan, I'm screaming that from the rooftops. But who knows when he'll ever play another basketball game again, so it might not matter. But
I mean, they did win 5 in a row without him, so...
Yeah, right. That's also true. So how valuable is he really? So real quick, I think... Do we want to? Okay, so
let's do it.
Yeah, let's jump into I think maybe everybody's favorite segment, if I can blow enough time here to make sure I get the intro video. But this is Jake's segment, so I'm gonna let him take it away. But first, the intro.
Schadenfreude.
The Sixers.
Schadenfreude.
The Lakers.
Schadenfreude.
The Heat.
Schadenfreude.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Schadenfreude.
Warriors.
Schadenfreude.
Let's go.
Let's fucking do it. I will say, the Miami Heat, you are not involved in this particular Schadenfreude report.
it was like pretty much the perfect day as a Celtics fan. So
yes,
obviously Celtics beat the Lakers. I mean, that's and
Beautiful.
LeBron. The fact that like LeBron is on the Lakers too, so we get to add the fact that we beat LeBron in front of everybody. They gave the Celtics like the primetime slot. Like this is the matchup. Rivens, appreciate you, my friend.
Legend, dude. Thank you.
Big dog. And then so as we start the day, firstly, my time zone up in the northeast of Australia, the basketball started at 3 a.m. So I got up at like 4 a.m. and watched the Bucks game on delay. And I was like, I'm like, it's like hot. It's like, I can't, the bed that I'm sleeping on is like, got no bar. I got bars. I can't sleep. So I'm just like delirious watching basketball all day. The Bucks lose to the Knicks. Jalen Brunson goes off for 38 points, which is just like turn on any Bucks game. The opposing guards just are constantly going off. Brunson, like I've never seen, and it's such a contrast to watching the Celtics because we have Derrick and Drew that are just so good at navigating screens and that are like
Pritchard's not bad either these days too. You know.
Well, like even Tatum and Jalen like have physical limitations on how they can get around screens just by the nature of being big and long, but they at least get around the screens eventually and do something. But like Brunson was coming off these screens, these Hartenstein screens, and then there was just no one coming. They were like
walking like the mid range. Yeah.
Well, he might miss. Hopefully, I guess I'll jog down for a fast break. He didn't. He like barely missed. Like the Knicks were uncomfortable on offense for exactly 0 seconds for the entire game. Like not a single point in the game did they string together like stops where you're like, oh, the Knicks are going to struggle to get a good shot here. It was insane. And like, the Bucks offense struggled. It was just beautiful. But like, I just can't take this Bucks team fully serious in the playoffs if like you're able to just get good looks over and over and over again. As I always say, the only way you can beat the Celtics is if you short circuit their offense, and they just don't have that button at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, Malik Beasley is their
God.
best point of attack defender. Like, that is insane. He was, like, unplayable at times over the last 3 years because he's such a bad defensive player. I do think he's been better this year, but, like, stacking him up, what is he, the 100th best point of attack defender in the NBA? 150th best? Something like that?
Yeah, it seems generous.
Yeah. He's like Sam Hauser, maybe. Like,
Dude.
maybe a little worse than Sam Hauser defensively.
Yeah.
And he is like who they're trying, like, oh, we got to cool down Brunson. Let's send Malik out on him.
Yeah.
Like, it is insane, like, the dearth of good defensive talent on that team. And, like, Portis can't defend anybody.
No.
It's really just, like, it's credit to Brook Lopez for them not being last and Giannis for them not being last in the NBA in defense because you're right. Like, I probably watched maybe 2 quarters of that game.
Yeah.
And like there was just no resistance. And like Randall was getting any shot he wanted at any time too. So they just basically pray you miss at this point, and their offense is elite. Like there's absolutely no doubt about that. Yeah, maybe the best offense in the NBA, easily top 5. So they're just going to try to outscore you, and I just don't know how far that goes in a playoff series.
Yeah, like take away the matchup with the Celtics. That's like never really been a winning recipe. The Nuggets were kind of like one of the first teams ever to do it with elite offense and then like solid defense. But their defense actually ended up being pretty good in the playoffs between like Aaron Gordon and KCP and then Jokic just being big enough to be a rim protector. That was like enough. And then even Porter Jr., offering, rim protection and elite rebounding.
Brown or whatever his name is, like a solid defensive play. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's spelled Braun, but it's Brown, yeah.
I know. I just had flashbacks to Jeff Van Gundy going on, waxing poetic about Christian Braun versus Brown. Missed him on the broadcast yesterday for sure. He just brings a level of fun to the broadcast that like I don't think that you're really getting with the other guys, but still good. As long as Breen's on there, that's all I really care about. Yeah. But yeah, man, the Bucks. Andre Jackson is like their only hope to me. It's like he's been legit, but like I'm sorry, a rookie in the playoffs consistently. It's just so rare for that to work. And offensively, he can't shoot. And so, like, then that just takes away from your biggest strength as the Milwaukee Bucks offense. If you're able to help off someone, that not completely, but it's going to help neutralize the Dame Giannis pick and roll. And something that I've noticed we'll see. They're very reliant on free throws, especially late in these clutch moments. Giannis is going to get to the line. Dame, I wonder, like playoff
the
time.
Harden.
Yeah, able to get more physical. I wonder how much he's actually able to get to the line in the fourth quarter. We just haven't seen a lot of Dame in like conference finals basketball against really physical teams. Yeah, he made one, and he got swept by the Warriors, but everybody got swept by the Warriors.
True.
Yeah. And then, okay, who we got next? I guess
Sixers, baby.
Yeah. So the Sixers. I mean, they ruined. I mean, the Sixers and the Heat basically ruined the Christmas slate by like having no Jimmy Butler and no Embiid. Like, yes. I tuned into this game like in the middle of the third quarter. I was like, this is the time where I can like talk to my family, have lunch, do a little bit of that. The Heat go up 20 in the third quarter, and the Sixers are immediately going like a 33-12 run, and I think they're going to ruin everything. By the way, they go on this 33-12 run and cut the 20-point lead down in like half a quarter. Spoelstra called 2 timeouts through this run, and it didn't help
matter.
at all. It's just like these timeouts to stop runs. By the way, Joe's actually been calling timeouts like pretty much just like a normal coach does these days. Like it's pretty much normal. But yeah, the Sixers go down, and like this is more important than the Heat losing, because it's pretty clear that the Sixers and the Bucks are going to be the ones that are going. Shout out Muzz31. The Aussie dollars are flowing today. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Yeah, Spoonie. They don't equal quite as much in freedom bucks. But,
that's all right.
That's okay.
Give us our economy a few more years, and they will.
But yeah, so like the Bucks and the Sixers are clearly going to be the ones that are fighting for seeds 2 and 3. The Heat, they just don't. The devil magic doesn't really start until the playoffs, apparently. So like we can't really worry too much about them losing in the regular season because they're better than last year. They're healthier. They're going to be a top 6 seed, I think. Who cares, man? I have to go back and find the video of us streaming live for the draft.
I know.
Because he was like the one, like I don't do any draft prep, but I was like, this guy, I like this guy. And then obviously the Heat got him. He's just perfect for a contender. He had 30 points yesterday against the Sixers.
Balled out.
But so the Bucks and Sixers lose. That's just like when 3 teams are going to be winning so many games, and the Celtics are going to be winning so many games, any loss for the Bucks and the Sixers is just going to be very helpful in the standings. And as much as I'm not scared, I'm probably more scared of the Sixers this year than I am than the Bucks, honestly. But you want to get the Bucks and the Sixers playing each other in the second round. It's too early to think about this, but it's also not. Like the number 1 seed is going to be important purely for avoiding and not having them knock one of those teams out. Obviously, last year that didn't matter because the Heat came in and was an 8 seed and beat the Bucks, and round and round we go. But so we're like 2 losses clear of the Bucks, 3 losses clear of the Sixers. You just love to see it.
Yeah, dude. And Mitch says in the chat, Miami can beat the Celtics if KP isn't healthy. If KP is healthy, I will be terrified until that final buzzer sounds and we win the series. Like I am done not taking the Miami Heat seriously. I've done that twice in the last 2 years, and I'm just totally done with that. I will take them. Doesn't matter, 8 seed. They could be the 10 seed and sneak into the playoffs through the play-in. Like I'm just going to be terrified of them no matter what. But yeah, I'm with you. I think early in the season, with Maxey kind of running the show, I still think that maybe defensively you can grind them down a little bit because he's not the playmaker Harden is, but he's just so much more dynamic on the ball. And I don't know, I'm not sure how much I trust this run by Embiid just because you look at who it's come against, but and it's like every year, man, it's just, he's not hurt, he's not healthy. Well, like that's just, if that happens every single season, like that's just kind of who he is at some point. But
he was hurt yesterday.
Right. And so I do think like if we play the Bucks tomorrow or the Sixers tomorrow, I definitely think our chance to lose is higher against the Sixers for sure. No doubt about it in my mind.
Yep. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm going to be scared because like playing in the playoffs
It's the
is
playoffs.
terrifying.
Yeah, period. Yeah, I was scared of the Hawks.
Yeah. But like the reality is this Celtics team, all things equal, is so much better than both of these teams. Like like Embiid, we are more equipped to deal with him than anyone else. Maxey, good luck with Derrick and Drew Holiday for 7 games. Dame, have a blast. Good luck slowing down. It's like it's not even the Jays anymore. I'm like, they're going to be good and great in the playoffs. Good luck dealing with Drew and Derrick for 7 games on both ends. It's just like, and then, oh, by the way, we have the atomic weapon in Porzingis to deal with the drop coverage of Lopez and Embiid. It's just the matchups are endless. This team is just nutty.
Oh, and yeah, we're throwing Al Horford out at you off the bench on defense. And like, oh yeah, Sam Hauser went 4 of 5 from 3 this game too. And Pritchard went 3 of 6 this game. You know, it's like, it's just endless, especially with these bench guys playing so well. This team is they're just loaded. But all right, anything left on the Schadenfreude Report before we get out of here, Jake? Other than, enjoyed
ruining the Lakers' Christmas. That was fun. LeBron benching himself like with 2 minutes to go, even though the game was like kind of in the balance. Like, oh yeah, like Mitch's question here. Can we talk about Hauser's road struggles? This is the life of a shooter, just in general, and that's so he's gonna go on a bit of a slumps here. But which game was it? Was it the Clippers game or the Kings game? He had one of his 5 for 6 games. Like 3 of the 4.
He was 4 of 6 against the Kings, 2 for 4 from 3.
Yeah. So like, 3 of the 4 games he didn't shoot well from 3 on the road. They could purely just be He's look, and that's the thing though with role players. Like in the playoffs, that's like one of the classic tropes is role players win playoff games at home and your stars win playoff games on the road. That's kind of how it goes. And then the good thing about being the 1 seed is we'll be playing a lot of games at home probably.
Get 4 of them at home. Yeah. I think part of it is probably just random. But also I think there might be something to it. We'll see as the sample size gets bigger. But again, like, look, if he's not going to be hot on the road, that's not ideal. But yeah, to your point, it's like he's also the 7th, 8th man too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if that's kind of one of our biggest worries, like he's going to be playing 10 minutes in a playoff series, a game. And
also, I think a sample size for shooting road games. We've played 13 road games. Like
he goes 5 of 6, and it's going to be
1, and then all of a sudden, it's kind of back up. So I something to monitor, sure, but I'm not like particularly super worried about it. But Joe's post game presser, I haven't actually seen it. I haven't had a chance to.
Me either.
Look, and even 34% on the road is not even that bad. But so Eric, sorry, I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, just with everything going on. But it looks like something about the transformation of the team from Eric before. What did he say?
Reinventing. Joe's saying we're reinventing people or reinventing the team or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we kind of spoken about it. Everybody's kind of gone through it. Jalen's gone through it. Even Jalen yesterday made a couple of nice passes out of the post. Mm-hmm. Just continuing to make the right play, and there's going to be little blips along the way. But yeah, Tatum still feels like the last guy to really lock in and kind of explode with Al Horford juice all over the place.
And, there's no doubt in my mind we will all be covered in Al Horford juice by the end of the season. All right, on that note, we should probably get out of here before my wife kills me. So, Jakey, buddy, fun as always. Love your work. We are out.
I love